South Africa will look to tie up the bonus point win early in this one, just so there's no jitters towards the end. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. South Africa v Tonga. It's at the Stade de Marseille in Marseille. It's on Sunday, 10th of October. Kickoff is 8 p.m. BST. This is world rank number 3 versus world rank number 15. So we're going to have a look at the teams, starting with the Boks. So front row, you got Oxenche, Dion Fourie and Vincent Koch. So not the starting front row that we've seen throughout most of the tournament, but these guys have had, big impact from the bench, and now that they get a chance to start, you should see them going really well. Dion Fourie, though, he's gonna have to get better in the line-out. We saw some very, crooked throws there. He's not a hooker at this level, I would say, yet at least. He obviously did play there in his younger days, I believe, and hasn't played, before being drafted in really as an emergency hooker. Hadn't played there in a number of years, but I'm sure they've been going through a lot of it in training with him, and I expect his lineouts to improve. And having second row of Etzebeth and Ori is going to help him a lot with that as well. Some really good targets there for him to hit. Back row, then we've got Khaleesi, Vermeulen and Visa. So that's a very interesting 7-8 combination with Vermeulen at 7. So I'd be definitely keeping an eye on how they go as a unit. Certainly not one that I would naturally have picked. For me, Vermeulen and Visa is kind of either or, but in games like this where you're making changes, it's possible that you're going to get some kind of a little bit out of the ordinary combinations. The halfbacks then, we got Reinhardt at 9, Pollard, Andre Pollard, back from injury, drafted straight in at 10, and basically wondering now whether this is just getting him in and getting him into the squad, or is this a signal that Leboc's position at 10 is kind of under pressure. We've seen him kind of struggle a lot from the tee, and Pollard, not expecting him to do that. We're expecting him to get the really hard kicks and have a very high kicking percentage, but is that going to be enough to displace Leboc, who has been running the back line pretty well? We'll have to see. Left wing then got Mapimpi, another guy who's kind of ousted from the first team and looking to force his way back in. Got Esterhazen, who seems to be a little behind Dale Ende for that 12 jersey, but he had such a good rugby championship. He could certainly one who could force his way in there. Kanan Moody at 13. He had his first game of 13 against the All Blacks and absolutely tore it up. So let's see how he goes here. Grant Williams, scrum half, but he's playing on the wing, but he has the pace there. Possibly the fastest guy in the Springboks squad. Willie LaRue then at 15. Looks like Willems is maybe starting ahead of him in the bigger games. So, but Willie gives you a lot there too, and it always seems to be like himself and Willems that will be 15 and 13, but it's just about the order almost. Onto the bench then we have Van Staden as backup hooker. You got Kitsoff and Nyakane as the props. So both of them, starting not as good as we've seen them through the Rugby Championship and through URC games as well. So they'll have a point to prove, I think, coming off the bench. Got Mostart, who I've been impressed with. Quagga Smith, such a threat at the breakdown, that guy, and knows his way to the try line. Got Jaden Hendricks, yet another of the 9s in the squad there. Got Manny Leboc on the bench there, so he probably will get some game time coming on. Will it be at 10 or not? We'll have to see. And then Jesse Creel, who can give you cover for a number of positions across the back line. So certainly not a first team that they picked, but certainly a strong team that they picked here. And we look at the Tonga team now. So front row for them is Fisi Ihoi at loose head. Then we got Nguamo and Ben Tamifuna, at tight head. So, these guys, kind of similar to the way the team have gone, really, they've had moments where they've had impact, but you want to see a bit more from them. And going against that, it's basically the bomb squad front row at the moment for the Boks, right? So gonna have to see how can they cope with them in the scrum, and then how did they go in the loose as well. The second row, then we got Halaleva Fifita with Sam Lousy there. So again, going up, with Etzebeth in that second row, and Ori beside him there as well. It's going to be a big test for these guys too, but they have again impressed at times. Back row, then we got Hale Fanua, Talitui and Paya as the back row, and they're going up against a very strong back row as well. But the one thing with the Boks back row there is I'm not sure about the balance of it. I could be completely wrong, but I think the balance might be a little bit off. And if that's the case, maybe these guys can take a little bit of advantage of that. Into the backs, then halfbacks, we get Pulu at 9, Havili at 10. So Havili, he's done decent at 10. Kind of, Tonga, they've been a little bit almost a forgotten team really in this pool of death, right? Because you got Romania, who have just been terrible, and people are, remember them because of that. And then you have, Ireland and South Africa, who have had excellent games in the tournament, and then Scotland there, who are coming to, in from their point of view, hopefully upset the apple cart and knock one of those two out when they play Ireland in that final game. But Tonga, they're almost a forgotten team, I think, in it. So it'd be nice to see them produce a decent performance here. On the left wing, then we got Tui Tavuki. The centres, then Peter Aki and Malachi Fekatoa. It's such an amazing centre combination. You just hope that they get a decent platform and they get a bit of ball as well to play with. We've got Inisi on the right wing, and Piatau at full back, always dangerous under counter attack. And on the bench, then we have Moli, Kaloa, Matangi, and Apikotoa as front row replacements. We've got Coleman covering the second row. We got Violanu there for the back row. We got Takulua, Pellegrini, and Taumo Peu. So, it's a strong side, and we've seen the island teams have gotten better, this World Cup compared to others, at least as a collective. And it seems like it's going to be a trend. It's not just going to be a one-off thing, that they are going to get better and better over time. And that's great to see. But, in terms of how this one's going to go, South Africa know, they can't mess up in this one. They can't allow it to be a tight affair where they just scrape over the line and potentially without a winning bonus point. So I think they're going to come at Tonga, and they're going to come at them hard from the start. And I expect, South Africa to maybe be knocking on the door, or even have the bonus point by half time. And in the second half, then maybe Tonga can let rip a little bit and get some scores of their own. But yeah, I think that South Africa are going to come for them right from the go, and Tonga need to be ready for that. If they can weather that, then it's going to be a very different game. But in terms of who I think is going to win, I think it's going to be South Africa. I think they're going to get that bonus point, and then they're going to make Ireland and Scotland kind of duke it out to see where things are going to go. And then if Scotland beat Ireland in that final game, then it's going to be very tight at the top. So they know that they need to finish well in this one.